Guys, buckle up, because what I'm about to tell you feels unreal. According to multiple reports, the Dodgers have already scheduled internal meetings, the front office is aligned, and the Cody Bellinger, yes, that Bellinger, is reportedly open to hearing what the back-to-back World Series champions have to say. This could be one of those moments that shifts the entire offseason, a reunion that nobody thought would ever happen again, and somehow, the stars are lining up. Before we jump into this, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Help us hit that 12,000 subscriber milestone. You guys have been incredible all year long, and we're building something special here on latest Los Angeles Dodgers news. Now let's see how ESPN reacted to learning that the Dodgers are meeting to acquire Cody Bellinger, information that comes from MLB itself.
For you.
This is my first time on since you've come back home, isn't it?
I think it might be. I don't know. It might be. It could be. It is. Listen, Jeff, my first question for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being ecstatic and 10 being out of their skulls ecstatic, Major League Baseball is what after this World Series, Jeff Passan?
I would say probably an 8.
Okay.
And yeah, how can you be anything but ecstatic after that World Series? Right. It was just, it was the culmination, Rich, of an October that to me illustrated and displayed everything that's great about baseball right now. You had stars performing at historically great levels. You had individual and team performances that were beyond expectations. And you had more series than ever go the distance, including the World Series, which I've covered 22 of them now, I believe. And it's hard to say that any of them have been better than this one. Now, I was still in college back in 2001, and certainly that one gives 2025 a run for its money in terms of this century. And my first World Series was 2004. Historically, that was a big deal. 2016 had an awesome Game 7, and the outcome with the Cubs winning for the first time in more than a century was great. But just in terms of like pure baseball and the things that happened in the series and the quality of the games and the players who are involved, it's really tough to beat this year between Los Angeles and Toronto.
Yeah, and you know, at one point I think I posted out, Jeff, that this World Series ran out of things I'd never seen before. And there's 2 moments that will live, I think, in nightmare fuel for Blue Jays fans until they get a chance to win it again and actually pull it off. I kind of want to pick your brain on the backstories of it or what people are talking about it. And the first one was that moment in Game 6 when Barger hits the ball in the talk about game of inches. It wedges in between the bottom of the padding and the warning track. And there's a lot of talk about how this should not have been a dead ball. This should have been everybody keeps running. And instead, this was improperly called a ground rule double and dead baseball. What's the scoop here on that, Jeff?
I think it was the right call. I mean, you saw that photo. If you guys can bring that back up again, just look at the way that the fence has moved. There's a little indentation at the bottom, and part of it has been pushed up. And was it wedged to the point where Justin Dean could not have reached in, grabbed it, pulled it out, and thrown it back? No, it turns out. But I don't think John Tumpain, who was the umpire in left field, could make that determination from his position. What he saw was a ball that looked like it could be stuck there. And in the moment, you have to make a judgment call. And the judgment call that he made there was that it was a dead ball and that it was an automatic 2 bases for Addison Barger. And it's, you know, you talk about game of inches with football. Baseball feels like a game of millimeters, man, because in addition to that, in the 9th inning, bottom of the 9th, in Game 7, the difference between Isaiah Kiner-Falefa's foot hitting the plate and that one spike on the bottom of Will Smith's shoe going down and touching the plate. I mean, it was, you see it right there. Like one spike. That is the difference between the Los Angeles Dodgers remaining alive and eventually winning the World Series and the Toronto Blue Jays walking it off and being World Series champions for the first time since 1993.
Baseball being the first major sport in this 21st century of instant replay, awarding a championship
decided
on a reversal of a call of an umpire. That was in the ether as it was going down, and that's the second play I was going to bring up to you, Jeff. What is the backstory behind Isiah Kiner-Falefa's lead off of third base? There's so much talk about there wasn't any secondary lead and why he wasn't taking it. And then we all know his decision to slide foot first, not head first, not run through the plate when it was a force play, not a tag play. Jeff, what's the backstory that you heard about that one?
There are a few different elements that we have to talk about here, Rich. And I think it actually goes back to Game 6 and goes back to Addison Barger being on second base. And a line drive gets hit out to left field. Kike Hernandez charges it. Barger makes a bad read, gets too far off the bag, and gets doubled off to end the game. And I think that sort of thing informs just how conservative the Blue Jays were when it came to the ninth inning of the next game. And Isiah Kiner-Falefa is on third, bases are loaded, and Max Muncy is a couple of steps off the bag. Now, typically speaking, hitters are told to take a lead about equivalent to the distance between the third baseman and the bag, with the idea being that if a line drive gets hit to third base and the third baseman snags it, you do not want to be further away from the bag and run the risk of getting doubled off. Now, Dalton Varsho was at the plate. Dalton Varsho does not hit the ball to the opposite field. Doesn't matter where it's pitched. And so that wasn't quite as big a concern, but Carlos Febles, the third base coach for the Blue Jays, walked to the line and put his right foot down and pulled it back while still on the ground, essentially saying to Isiah Kiner-Falefa, this is where you need to end your lead. And it was not as far as Max Muncy. They were playing very conservative at that point. But beyond just the potential for a double play is the potential for a back pick, too. If you take a larger secondary lead, Will Smith could theoretically throw behind and try and pick him off at third base. That being said, the lead is as egregiously small as it was. That's not the issue. It's the slide. But guys play on instinct, Rich. And your instinct from all of the reps that you've had throughout your career is going to be to slide into home plate and not to run through. So the question of should he have slid head first as opposed to feet first, that's reasonable. I get that. But man, it's just such a hard thing in the moment. And yet those very minuscule decisions that are made in the moment are the differences between a championship and an absolutely heartbreaking loss.
And then, you want to talk instinct, Jeff Passan. Dave Roberts' instinct, my goodness, his spidey sense in games 6 and 7 in particular were off the charts. Why did he decide in the middle of the ninth inning with Yamamoto on the mound to insert Andy Pages into center field? Because after this IKF play came the moment that I will never forget. Kike Hernandez will never forget. Dodger fans will never forget. Why was Pages inserted when he was?
Before I answer that question, yes. Did you know that Kike Hernandez, when he was laying face down on the warning track afterward, do you know why he was face down like that?
Go for it.
He thought that the ball had fallen, and he thought that the World Series was over. And Pages said to him, "What are you doing?" And Kike said to him, "We lost." And Pages was like, "No, we didn't."
Isn't that great? Unbelievable.
We did not. The answer is because with one out and the potential for a sacrifice fly to end the World Series, Dave Roberts understood that he needed his strongest armed outfielders out there. And so that's why Andy Pages, who has a tremendous arm, came in, because and they were playing relatively shallow, right?
Yes.
So that's why you saw when they were going back the way that they did, why that Ernie Clement drive to the left center field gap was as tenuous as it was. But yeah, it's knowing your personnel. And it's understanding that every little maneuver that you make can add a minuscule sliver to your win probability. And in this case, the minuscule sliver turned out to be an absolutely enormous boon to the Dodgers championship hopes.
So you're saying he was brought in for the possibility of throwing someone out for a second out that was IKF anyway, and he just happened to be in the game for the third out. He was just in
this. Well, this would have been throwing him out. So let's say with one out, that instead of Dalton Varsho hitting a ground ball to Miguel Rojas and Rojas corralling it and throwing home to get IKF, let's say Varsho hits a fly ball to center field. You're going to have a play at home plate then. It's going to be a different play. That play at home plate was a force play, but if you have a fly out before that, then you're going to have a tag play at the plate, and you'd better have a perfect throw home if you're going to get Kiner-Falefa.
So an 8-2 World Series saving out as opposed to a 7-4 double play that forces a Game 7 on a broken bat to walk it off. Like, again, this World Series, brother, unbelievable. And the fact Rojas was in it all. In it all, right? I mean, in that pick play,
and he was in, Rich.
Right.
He was in because Andy Pages can't hit. Pages had been in the lineup games 1 through 5 and pretty much every other game. And the Dodgers' versatility is what helped them here, because Tommy Edman, who they had kept out of center field because of a lingering health issue, they were like, you know what, lingering health issue or not, we cannot have Pages' bat in the lineup anymore. And that's precisely why Pages was on the bench.
Unfortunately, a copyright issue prevented me from sharing the rest of ESPN's reaction, just as Jeff Passan was about to start talking about Bellinger and the Dodgers. So I'll be informing you myself from now on. So yes, the rumor is real. The Los Angeles Dodgers are officially interested in a blockbuster reunion with Cody Bellinger. And honestly, as a fan, man, this hits differently. The history runs deep. Bellinger wasn't just another player who came up through our system. He was the guy. 2017 NL Rookie of the Year. 2019 NL MVP, 47 home runs that season, a huge part of the 2020 World Series run, but after that shoulder injury, everything fell apart. From 2021-2022, he hit just the 193 with a 69 OPS plus, and the Dodgers made the tough decision to non-tender him. Everyone wished it could work out. It just couldn't at the time. The comeback nobody saw coming. And then Cody rebuilt himself. 2023 with the Cubs, Comeback Player of the Year. 2025 with the Yankees. 29 HR, most since MVP season. 98 RBI, 8113, OPS 4.9 WAR, Fangraphs, 9th among all outfielders. +7 outs above average. +9 fielding run value. On top of that, he played all 3 outfield spots and first base. That's not just a good ball player, that's a premium roster fit for a championship caliber team. Why the Dodgers are looking at him again? This is where things get interesting. The Dodgers outfield production in 2025 wasn't exactly elite. Left fielders hit 229 AVG, 385 SLG. That is not enough when you're trying to win a 3rd straight World Series. Bellinger instantly boosts defense power, athleticism, versatility, lineup depth, October performance. And let's not ignore this. The fan base loves him. Dodger Stadium was built for players like Belly. Why a reunion actually makes sense financially now? Will he be cheap? No, but he won't be in the Kyle Tucker price range either. That makes him the perfect. It's a plan B that still feels like plan A. He opted out of $25 million guaranteed, taking a $5 million buyout just to hit the market. That means he's confident in a multi-year deal. Expect something in the range of 4 to 5 years, 90 to 120 million, which for a 4.9 OAR player is actually tremendous value. So what's the feeling right now? From what insiders are reporting, the Dodgers are very much in the mix. Bellinger is willing to hear their offer. The front office wants another impact outfielder, and the relationship between Bellinger and the Dodgers was never broken. It was just time apart. This feels like one of those perfect baseball storylines where both sides learned, both sides grew, and maybe, just maybe, both sides need each other again. Could this actually happen? I'm gonna be honest with you, yes, more than ever. And if it does, we'd be adding a Gold Glove caliber outfielder who hits for power, runs well, plays elite defense, and knows exactly what it means to play under pressure at Dodger Stadium. You give this current Dodgers team that piece, and a three-peat becomes even more real. Dodgers fans, I want to hear you in the comments. Would you welcome Cody Bellinger back to Los Angeles? Do you think this reunion helps the Dodgers win a third straight title? Drop your thoughts below. I read every single comment. And before you go, don't forget, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so we can smash our goal of 12,000 subscribers. This offseason is about to get crazy, and I'll be here with you every step of the way. Go Dodgers, and let's chase that three-peat.